What is up, you lot? My name is SIFmasry. Welcome back, guys, to a brand new video. And today's video I'm actually doing another collab with another special YouTuber, and his name is...
Yeah, you know who it is? Yeah, I'm not gonna tell who it is. If you don't know, you don't know. If you do.
If you guys didn't know, I'm obviously with Dekon. First link in the description, make sure to check him out. He's finally coming back to do more Walking Dead content for preparation for the final season. Today's video, as you read by the thumbnail, the title, we are talking about the boarding school in the final season. The people are in it and how it is as a place and what we think of it personally. Let's get straight into it. So the boarding school is a very important place. There's a lot of emphasis that goes into the boarding school, and there is the theme of it's a place that we can stay at permanently, maybe because of AJ's best interest. Now the reason I say this is because of course Clementine was the best for AJ, and when looking at the boarding school we see a lot of people that are around his age. For example, 10. Now that he's not exactly around his age, obviously he's 10. Finally getting to see some youth, you know, some teenagers and some younger cast being implemented into the storyline. So what do you think about the boarding school and AJ's best interest, Dekon?
But obviously, you know, if they to be trusted, I feel like it seems to be a safe place, like from what we've seen. But you don't know what's beneath the surface, though. Like you see in the gameplay reveal thingy E3, it seems like AJ's asking Clem, you know, can these people be trusted? And there's options to say, you know, I feel safe here. I don't trust them yet for now. So yeah, speaking about like leaving AJ permanently, I feel like there's got to be something beneath the surface, kind of like, you know, the St. John's. It's pretty much every community we've been to so far, it hasn't really worked out. Season 1, people were cannibals. Season 2, we got Carver. And then even at Wellington got f***ed over.
Yeah, of course. So I just want to dive in deeper into this first screenshot that we do get talking about AJ and Clementine regarding, of course, the boarding school. So as you mentioned, the 3 points for the dialogue options is, yeah, I feel safe here for now and I don't trust them yet. So what do you think AJ's response to actually finding people his age and actually finding a decent place to actually live with a roof over his head? Now obviously, judging by the screenshot, we see that we've actually settled in. They gave us a room to stay in, of course, obviously a bunk bed, so obviously this is where we're staying over for the night. Now this obviously sparks some conversation about how safe the place is. Now what do you think AJ is going to think about the whole boarding school?
I feel like it depends on what Clem answers right in that moment, because also if you go back, ever since AJ's born, they haven't really been safe. I don't think he remembers the Arvo shootout and all of that. You remember in the New Frontier when AJ and Clem got split up? I think he probably remembers that. Oh, you know, I can't let my guard down, you know, I gotta, you know, I can't trust people easily. What a community did to me back in the day. I was chilling out with Clem and then we got split up, because he could even talk then, you know. When he gets split up, he's like, Clem, you remember that? He's like, hey, what you doing, man? Clem. And we see in the trailer when they sing, he's like, you can't scream because the monsters will come up. Even though you say, I feel safe here, you know, AJ's, I can see him being on edge. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
That is true, you know. He's obviously had a lot of influence from Clementine, and him being born in the apocalypse, he doesn't have that same innocence or same backstory that he can actually relate to like everyone, so everyone can actually remember a time where there was no zombies. However, he's always lived his life pretty cautious, you know, he needs a gun, etc., which is seen in obviously in the trailer.
And he looks a bit worried too, like when he's talking to Clement before you get the option to answer. Obviously we don't know exactly what he said, but in the long of the lines of like, hey man, should we trust them?
So in terms of the boarding school, when we get into talking about how the people are like, there's obviously two ways we can talk about this. It's either they're hardened survivors, or of course kind of like Sarah, you know, a bit more soft. The traits of survival isn't quite there yet. It is pretty much a cast of teenagers, as we mentioned before. What does this mean? Obviously we've always talked about adults. They obviously tend to be the more dominant alpha characters in the seasons, in the series even. With a cast that kind of resembles Clementine's age, obviously not every character is like Clementine. However, I do expect most of them to be hardened survivors due to the fact that we are getting very, very deep into the storyline. Anyone who isn't fit for a zombie apocalypse would have died by now, realistically. So I do expect hardened survivors. However, I do expect there to be also someone in charge, like an overseer, an overlooker, who takes care of the boarding school, because there's no way a couple of teenagers are the ones controlling the boarding school. What do you think about that?
I kind of low-key doubt it, because they don't, because all the characters that we've seen, if it's just them, a bunch of teenagers, how's that gonna work out? You know, nah, bro. You know, New Frontier? Wasn't they connected to a lot of shit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they had branches outside of New Richmond. So yeah,
maybe there's a branch of like a bigger community. If it's just them, like a teenage section, maybe it's like a way to grow up, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like we're putting you. Maybe they're like a side community. You never know. Who knows? Okay, maybe the main community is like, hey kids, y'all need to grow up. Be there for a while, and we'll come check in on you now and then. You feel me? And maybe that could be like when the main community shows up. That's the real hard asses with the hard rule, the bad people, which will make us not stay at the community forever. Because there's got to be some conflict. There's got to be if you look at the TV show, if you look everywhere in the game, back in the day, we've stayed at a community, but it hasn't worked out. Something has come, to cause problems to make us leave. You know what I'm saying?
I do like the aspect of there being someone that's obviously the boarding school not being an independent little group camp/community, but actually being a branch of another bigger community, which could be where the conflict happens. Now obviously we need some sort of conflict for the story to progress. Maybe this little group is very nice to Clementine and AJ, however the people that are actually controlling the boarding school aren't so much, and then this is where we can get some of the emotional and personal conflicts happening there. So when talking about who's in charge, who do you think's in charge? Now I think there could be a space for a returning character to be in charge. We obviously talk about an overseer, such an overlooker. Do you think this could be a opportunity to include a past character that we've seen before?
Definitely, because time's running up. We only got 4 episodes left. If you're gonna do it, this is the time to do it. That'd be a great way to show. Maybe we got Molly, we got Lily, we got Christa, but I think people are gonna remember Christa the most because she's the latest one to go AFK, if you know what I'm saying.
Although I do like the idea of Christa being in charge, I do feel like it is more of Lily's character to be in control of a group. Now obviously we do see this in season 1 where she does pretty much control the so-called democracy group in season 1 when we're talking about the motel. So I would prefer if it's Lily personally, just because I do kind of miss her more, and she does have a bit more of a character and little personality than Christa, and also it does fit her season 1 character role. Now obviously her character can obviously change as we've progressed through the seasons, but
nah, you listen here, man. See this guy 10? You see 10?
10. What do you have to do about 10?
No, you listen here. You see that guy? Yeah, you the guy? Listen here. This is the best theory in the whole wide world. Christa was pregnant. She was pregnant in season 2 beginning, but then she's skinny again. What happened to the baby? Oh shit, it's 10. Yeah. Flashback. Go back. But in the time skip, Christa had a baby. She like, fuck this baby. Ah shit, we gotta leave it somewhere. I'm gonna abandon this. Oh shit, somebody picked the baby up. It's 10, and Christa reunite with the baby. She's the leader of the new world.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, but like you're saying, Lily would be probably more a person if it's a rough group. If it's a for real though, my bad. If it's a rough group, if it's like saying a harder survive, cover type of deal, then Lily probably would be the one to return if they're gonna make, because she in season 1 she already, like you said, she already started to be like that. 10, again, I'm gonna judge him by his appearance. My bad, 10. That looks like a burnt, that looks like a burnt mark, right? That looks like a burnt, yeah, that don't look like. And people that read the comics, watch the show, will know that, maybe that could be something there, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There's a side group, this is just a side branch of a main group, and the main group 10 did something bad, and they were like, nah, fam, that does not look like a scar of some sort, you know what I'm saying? That looks like a burnt mark.
Which would be interesting when talking about the behavior of them. So we've talked about how they might actually just be good people. They do generally look innocent, but what if it's more of a Carver-like camp more than a community where forced labor is obviously present in the actual community. So this is very significant. Maybe 10, even though he's a child, we obviously don't know any backstory about him, but maybe he was very rebellious against the rules, and as a result, this is why 10's Scarface actually exists.
But 10's face is definitely interesting, and it raises a lot of questions for me.
Yeah.
Because if you know what that is, you know. That's all you need to know. Watch the show and read the comics. You'll understand what 10's face could be.
So obviously, guys, the points which obviously are significant for today's discussion is, the first one, of course, is being the side branch kind of idea. Is the boarding school really its own thing, or is it kind of a side branch of a more bigger evil, a greater evil, where with them we can see the conflict between the boarding school actually containing good people, but however the actual bigger conglomerate that's actually controlling the boarding school is actually more evil, and this is where we get the conflict. What do you think about that? Do you also think the people are actually going to be good? 10, Louise, etc. Are those people going to be good characters? Do you think we'll get along with them as Clementine? What do you think their traits are going to be, like hardened survivors, Sarah-like traits, or somewhere in the middle? And third question is, of course, probably the biggest one, is regarding 10's face. Is it because of the boarding school, or is it prior to the boarding school? Did this half-face Scarface event happen prior to the boarding school or not?
Yeah, I mean, he looks the youngest too.
Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously, we did a collab over on Dekon's channel talking about AJ's potential death, which is a very big topic, a very interesting topic. We actually talked about a lot of points on that channel, so obviously click the first link in the description. It will take you straight over to his channel if somehow you don't know who Dekon is. Very iconic guy in the Telltale community. Other than that, thank you, Dekon, and of course make sure to subscribe to both of our channels, like our videos, and of course comment on what you think was the best point in today's video. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day, and in a bit.
V-Box giveaway in the description down below.